Hey friends, Raul Jimenez here with the Schrader Group. I'm blessed to be here with Teto Toledo. He's with BPG Inspections. We're going to get into the nitty gritty on what to expect on a home inspection. I mean, there's so many different processes. I think people get scared when they're like, oh, we got to get an inspection done. And then you see 30 pages of what it might be. And we're just here to dissect it a little bit, make it a little bit more friendly. So I'm here with Teto. Please introduce yourself. Tell me what you do.
Hi guys, I'm Teto Toledo. I'm with BPG Inspections. We do home inspections here in San Antonio. BPG's all over Texas and all over the US. So we check people's homes, make sure that they're safe, things are working properly, and to help people make the right choice when it comes to that decision.
So when you talk about the right choice, I always like to look at it because I'm a listing specialist here for the Schrader Group. So I go in and look at all the big ticket items, your foundations, your electrical, HVAC, plumbing, roof systems, things like that. But what are some of the main components that you're actually dialing in? Because I'm going to look at the outside and kind of check to see what we're at code, but I'm not going to open attics. I'm not going to go in there, in a suit and tie and get all sweaty. Right. So tell me a little bit more about what you guys do. Do y'all get on roofs, things like that?
Correct. So, no, you're right. Our eyes are trained to look at different things.
Yeah.
For us, or really for any house, the big 5 components are going to be your foundation, your roof, plumbing, HVAC, and electrical. The inspection is really just a visual inspection of all these major components. So we can decide and determine what things need repair, what things might need to be replaced, and what contractors you might need to contact to further evaluate any of those systems.
And your company gives does it give a spec sheet when it comes out, like what should be checked on, any kind of bid process, things like that?
Yeah, so we do things a little bit different. I agree with you that, sometimes you get an inspection report, 30 pages, just pictures, comments, and you got to go through it, try to figure out what the most important things are. So we try to make things a little bit easier for y'all.
Okay.
Something that BPG does that we like a lot is that we give a summary page.
Okay.
Okay, so for each section of the big 5 that we just talked about, you have a summary page with everything that we found. Each one of those items that you're going to see on there is going to have a color, so either red or blue. And this is where we take advantage of that to let the client and the agent know what's maintenance and what's really important, right? So the red items will be things like safety, things that aren't working properly, and then blue is more of maintenance, suggestions, things that we have to put on the report but aren't necessarily the end of the world.
Right.
And it helps you whenever you sit down with a client to be able to differentiate, okay, this is a priority, this is a Saturday project.
Sure. No, I like the way you put that. We always say deferred maintenance, right? That's something that you get to on a weekend, nothing big, but it's the big ticket items, right? You don't want anything to bust on you this summer heat. You don't want your AC going out 3 weeks after you buy the house. Yeah. So I definitely understand that. So a lot of our clients, we do a lot of new construction, things like that. And I always say, always get an inspection done, because even though it's a brand new construction, it has warranties, things like that, it's still built by men and a hammer nail, things like that. So I always say, you don't want to be sitting on your couch looking at the wall and be like, man, that's a little bit crooked. I should have got somebody out here to look at it. So talk to me a little bit about the new side. What exactly do y'all look for there?
Yeah, so it's crazy. I mean, people, not crazy, but the general concept people have is it's a new house, shouldn't need an inspection because it should be perfect. I hope I'm not the first person saying this, but there's no such thing as a perfect home.
No.
At the end of the day, for new construction, you're going to have a plumber, you're going to have an electrician, you're going to have a drywall guy, you're going to have an HVAC guy, and all these guys go out there, they do their job, but they're not necessarily talking to each other.
Sure.
Okay, so for us, new constructions recently have been turning out between 15 to 25, maybe 30 points on a new construction. Okay, so
rewind right there. You said points. Are you talking about deficiencies? What are you talking about there?
Yeah, when I mention points, it's the deficiencies that we find at the house. So a brand new house, 20, 25 deficiencies, and should be brand new, right?
Sure. Well, and I think on that aspect, it's a lot of minor stuff. I think that's a couple, a little more insulation here, a little bit more, imbalance here. The doors aren't latching or whatnot.
So in most cases, that's what it is. Okay.
We don't want to scare anybody out there.
Yeah, no, but I mean, part of it is, I want to say 2 weeks ago, climbed up into an attic, brand new construction, and there were some framing members that weren't installed properly, and if you don't know to look for those things, you're probably going to buy the house like that.
Well, and to that point, I always tell my clients, y'all are going to go in looking at all the bells and whistles. I can't believe we actually got here. We're actually going to close on Friday, and you're emotionally happy. Butterflies are flying. But, I normally go in and kind of look at some of the other items, like looking at sheetrock, any kind of deficiencies on that side, making sure everything's working. But you're going to go a step further, and I always recommend getting an inspection regardless, because I think peace of mind is better than the $400 or $500 that it's going to cost you or whatnot. But at the end of the day, that everything is to your standards, if you will.
Yeah.
But I think that, even on my house, I found little things, a lot of little things, but nothing major. But it was little things that, you just want to make sure they get taken care of, because if in 2 years when you try to sell, you're going to have to deal with those anyways, right?
Yeah. No, one is to figure out the things that aren't done right so that they can correct them. But in other cases, it's human error sometimes too, right? And if the builder will not fix it, or it's something that doesn't need to be corrected, at least have it on documentation.
Sure.
Because the day you go sell that house, if they find that and there's no previous history that something, that was there before,
Yep.
It can cover you. It can cover you.
No, absolutely. I agree with that. And that's something I don't, when I go in there and we get the listing back, I'm like, man, this should have been all done with the builder within the warranty, what ended up happening. And a lot of times I tell them at month 11, go ahead and get an inspection done. That way you can just turn it over to the builder and say, fix X, Y, Z. So talk to me about time. Some inspections are quick, easy. Some are a little bit more thorough, depending on age, things like that, the roof system, square footage, 1-story, 2-story, all that kind of things. But what's a typical gauge for, let's just say, your standard 1-story, 1,800 square feet home?
Okay, so 1-story, 1,800 square feet, 100-year-old house. We're looking at probably like a 2-hour inspection.
Give me about a 30-year house.
There we go, 30-year-old house, more or less looking around an hour and a half.
Okay.
I'd say that the duration of the inspection is going to be based on 3 things.
Okay.
Age, size, and the condition of the house.
Okay, and what is a typical turnaround time for you guys?
For us, we give you that report before the end of the day, usually a couple hours after the inspection.
Okay, which is good, because if we're on the resale side, we have option periods and we have timelines and things like that we have to adhere to. So that's definitely quick. The turnaround is really what we look for when we're trying to get the house on the market or sell it or close it, whatever we got to do. What don't y'all look at? Like, what aren't y'all going to give recommendations on, or what kind of items are outside that box?
The things that usually don't fall under a home inspection will be things like cosmetics, low voltage wiring, and any auxiliary appliances that are installed.
Okay. Meaning?
Right, so meaning like a water softener, an ice maker, a garage fridge, things like that.
Okay.
It's outside of the scope of the inspection, but if I want to make clients happy and I want to make sure that I check things thoroughly, I'm checking on the installation of the water softener.
Okay.
I might not be able to tell you the efficiency and if it's working correctly.
See how many irons or whatever is in there. You're not testing the water.
Hey, they installed it correctly. You have salt in there. Ask the seller more or less what's going on with this and how to maintain it, and that's it.
And talk to me about pools. Do y'all serve or look at the motors, the functions, the polarities, make sure everything's functioning as well? I know it's probably an a la carte item.
Yeah. So what BPG offers is the main home inspection, just the regular inspection, and then aside from that, we also offer add-on services.
Okay.
So we can also add on things like termite, pool, jacuzzis. We check septics. We check wells. We do sewer cameras. We can do repair estimates. So there's quite a list of add-on services that we can do. For a house with a pool, yes, we'll be checking water level, the actual condition of the surface of the pool, the equipment, functionality of everything. It's a full-on inspection.
Full-on inspection. What are some of your biggest questions that people ask you when they're either going to get an inspection for the first time, or you're in a seller's house because they're like, my house is perfect, there's nothing wrong with it, I've been taking care of it since 1985. What are some of the biggest questions you get that you kind of got to debunk a little bit?
So I'll be honest, the most common question that I get is, would you buy this house for your daughter or for your sister? Right? And the answer is always the same. So if the numbers work out, then yes, I would buy it for them. So whatever you're offering, plus whatever repairs you got to make to get the house up to par, how does that compare to the comparables in the area?
Sure.
And that usually makes the decision for you.
So a lot of times what I do with my inspections is, especially with first-time home buyers, I like to kind of get a recap, get them to the house. And do you provide that kind of recap service?
Yes. So I strongly encourage that either the agent and or the client makes it to the inspection.
Okay.
It gives us a chance to kind of talk about some of the things that they're going to expect on the report. Only reading the report can be pretty alarming sometimes.
Sure.
Like,
well, 30
that's just
pages of
the nature.
house is not good.
Exactly. So, if you only see something on the report, it might be alarming. But if you give me a second, hey, this is the issue that we got. You're going to need an electrician.
Sure.
Probably this much in parts. Like, you're not looking at anything crazy. Then cool, we feel a lot better
right.
than we're reading a bunch of electrical things on the report, and it's like...
Well, and then it's from when it was built to code now, and like the changes, and was it grandfathered in, was it not, is it working as intended? Yes, but it could be better because of the new standards, whatever it might be. One of the questions I always ask, especially with some of my trusted guys, is any red flags, anything I gotta be worried about? And they're pretty much like, it's a solid house, lots of deferred maintenance, XYZ, this is where I would focus on. So you kind of do the same thing in the recap then, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes people are from out of town. We can shoot for a FaceTime call or a three-way call at the end of the inspection. Like, I do everything in my power to have that point of contact, because not only am I there to help understand the report and the inspection, but I want my clients to know that through BPG there's a year of free consultation with us when you get an inspection with us.
I didn't know
So once you move in, you see a little crack, you see a little leak, something that you're not quite sure what's going on, send me pictures, text me, call me, and if we can't figure it out over the phone, I'll be more than happy to come by.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that you provided that service, so that's actually a plus, because, there's always things that come up like, what about this?
Yeah.
What about that?
Yeah.
So last question, what is your turnaround time? If someone wants to say, hey, I need an inspection tomorrow or next week or whatever it is, what is a reasonable time that you guys can actually have somebody out there to go ahead and perform that inspection?
Okay. If it's me personally, usually the next day.
Okay.
Or within the next 2-3 days.
48-hour kind of turn?
Yeah. Okay. So, I'll be honest, like, there's some days if you call in the morning, there's a chance that I can do that inspection that afternoon. Okay. We have right around 20 inspectors, I want to say, here in San Antonio, which means that if your main inspector isn't there, you can go through our website, click on soonest available, and pick a person that, could be today, could be tomorrow morning, but you get to see the soonest available. For us, everybody gives that report back before the end of the day. That's kind of like our goal. So, turnaround time can be as quick as 12 hours, or it could be 24, 36.
And what is y'all's service area here in San Antonio?
Man, so I'll be honest, it probably goes inspector by inspector basis.
I want to be in 78259, that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So, for us, on like a regular week, we go as far as like Canyon Lake, Floresville, Bernie, Kerrville, but I'd be lying if I said I haven't driven 3-4 hours to go do an inspection and then come back.
Well, I'd be in the same boat if I said I hadn't driven 8 hours for a listing, so I guess we're in the same boat. All right, so what about our rural friends that are a little bit further outside the city? Do we look at inspections on the septic, on the wells, anything like that?
So I suggest do your due diligence.
Okay.
Do the home inspection. If your house has a septic tank, check out your septic. If it's a little bit older of a house, I'd also suggest check out your sewer line.
Okay.
Could be some hidden damage down there. But overall, guys, what I want you to take away is, yes, we're here for inspections. But more importantly, we're here to always answer questions. If you guys got a listing, somebody else does your inspection, we're here to help. Okay. You're showing a house and your client absolutely loves it, but then they get to a certain area and they see a crack. And now they don't want it because the house is falling apart.
Run.
Take a picture, send it over. Like, we're here as advisors, not just for that final inspection for you.
Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you very much, Teto Toledo. I hope you got a little insight on the inspection process. Don't be scared. It's part of the process. But please like and follow our page. If not, y'all have a blessed day, and we'll talk to y'all soon.